And we are back. Sorry about that, guys. Had a little bit of technical difficulties on my end, but we're back going under green racing here. We got Meeb still hanging out in P2, just 4 tenths back, as Scuba Steve is pretty close here with Buck. They've been battling it out a little bit. See, Buck and Scuba Steve are going to be the only drivers remaining with penalties, as Cynical picks up a penalty himself. See Buck with 8 seconds as he's going to make his move on Lancey as we speak. Gets that done nicely. Buck on 8 seconds, Scuba Steve on 6, and Cynical on 3 seconds. See here, Buck on these soft tires, not able to really close down that gap without the help of DRS too much here on these top 3 drivers, who have been driving pretty exceptionally all night. Jacko starting a little bit further back, worked himself up into the podium contentions. Another dominant performance from him, as we've seen. Very consistent driving and very quick driving out of him. Meeb has also been pretty quick on the throttle here tonight, and it's no stranger to winning races here in this endurance series. So curious if he's going to be able to pull that out, or if Scarenzi, your current drivers championship leader, is going to be able to pull out a win here for us tonight. See, Jacko's getting up close on the inside there. Couldn't really back out of that one, so I had to take a little bit more curb there. And then cut down to the inside. Almost goes up into the grass, as he actually does go onto the grass, as Meeb is going to force him that little bit wide. Going to come down. He's going to try to stick it around the inside. He does so. They bang wheels a little bit. Have a little bit of contact. Meeb ended up having to back out of that one, but Jacko gets through pretty cleanly. Not much more he could have done there, with Meeb not wanting to really yield any room there for him on track. That is going to allow Meeb to not have the DRS there, as we see Buck pretty closely behind him now as well. See these two just kind of battling, swapping around a little bit here now. Through these corners, Meeb's really wanting to get back in front here, as Lancey's going to see himself off into the wall again. Not sure if he had any front wing damage from that one. Doesn't look like he did. Jacko is just starting to fall a little bit back off of Scarenzi there in front. Scarenzi very happy that these two are battling it out, allowing him to kind of break free on those hard tires as well. He's going to want to be able to get these guys to work through their tires faster to lose a little bit more tread, so they don't have too much to attack him back with once they're done scrapping away here. And imagine we're going to see a position change coming up on this straight. Meeb's looking like he's got a good bit of pace here over Jacko. God, doesn't have a ton of ERS to play with, but we'll see what he's able to do on this stretch now, as we're going to see Buck just behind him on the soft tires as well. So he's able to close down a lot, as Jacko didn't have the DRS open there. And they do come together a little bit there. Meeb kind of cut to the inside there and makes contact with Jacko. I'm not sure if his front wing got any damage from that. Doesn't look like he did. You're going to see Buck still closely behind them, and Scuba Steve even closer still. All these guys kind of the top 5, and not even 2 seconds apart. But that's going to see Jacko make a little bit of contact And Buck's just going to be stationary here on the track. Bucket's going again there. Dramatically changed the outcome of both his and Scuba Steve's race. I'm going to see Buck off into the grass again. Had a little spin there. So that's unfortunate from him. I'm sure he's not happy with that at all. But Lancey was able to gain back his positions there, luckily off of their incidents. Cynical now sees himself up into P4. As I said, he had a silent drive, but he was driving consistently, and that consistency has rewarded him with sitting P4 at the moment. He's got Lancey close behind to deal with, but I'm not sure if Lancey's going to have any front wing damage he's going to have to mitigate for the remainder of this race here. Scuba Steve also not too far behind them. Lancey looking like he wants to make something happen here, shooting up the inside. Doesn't need the slipstream. Cynical now is going to want to hoof it tight as possible. You see Buck coming into the pits now. He's got a 5-second penalty speed in the pit lane. You may see him decide that this is not what he wants, and that is indeed what happens. I'm going to see him retire there in the pits on lap 42 of 63. So this Williams driver here, he had a spin early on and that caused him to fall back, and he has fought back twice now to be back up into P4 where he started this race. So good effort from him to do that. Be a good result for the Williams team, as it's only Williams, Mercedes, and Alfa Romeo are the only two teams with both drivers racing tonight. And with only 9 people left to finish as well, there's going to be a lot more points awarded to these guys than they might have originally thought coming into this race. You're going to see Meeb now making his move on Screnzy, makes it around the outside there on that straight. You know, those 15 lap old hards now not going to be having too much for those 9 lap old mediums who are kind of in the prime of their lifetime. Going to be able to really maximize the traction and tire life that they'll have around right about around now. And you see Cynical just a little bit back off of Scuba Steve at the moment. Things are kind of heating up here in this stage of the race after that safety car kind of pulling everyone all together, making everyone able to make a lot more moves again and kind of have another shot at some of these drivers that bested them earlier on in the race. So that's what I really enjoy, seeing late safety cars like this where everyone's able to learn and adapt from the other drivers and try different moves the next time around if we have multiple safety cars or something like that. Meeb is showing that he's got the pace second time around to be back out in the lead. Was leading almost the entirety of the sprint race, but due to a 3-second time penalty, he ended up finishing P2 by a couple hundredths of a second. Screnzy has been doing pretty well though on these hard tires. You saw Jacko had that little spin and he's got himself a 3-second time penalty now as well. Jacko had that spin that kind of slowed him down, stopped him on track for a few seconds, so he fell back a little bit away from the top 2 runners, which has kind of cleared them up a little bit to race each other a little bit harder and not have to worry about Jacko capitalizing on that one. So Screnzy should be setting himself up pretty consistently here if he can keep it clean for the remainder of this race, he should have P2 pretty solidly in the books, I would assume, with that 5.4 second gap. Not really closing too quickly there from Jacko. And he's also going to be having a time penalty against his name now as well. Yeah, just the 3 seconds for him. Scuba Steve picked up another 3-second time penalty. And that is allowing Cynical to go through as well, as Scuba Steve was off tracks, had a little spin there. And I see Slara is just coming up onto the back of his teammate now. See if he's going to be able to make the move on him. These guys have been driving one right behind the other for a lot of this race. It's a pretty even level playing field for the Alfa Romeo garage this time out. The Screnzi has just fallen outside of a second of Meeb now as well. That's going to be exactly what Meeb's going to be wanting at this stage in the race on lap 46 of 63. A lot of these drivers now have just got themselves to drive against. Everyone's kind of starting to spread out a little bit. So it's just going to be a matter of time now until somebody crosses the finish line. You're going to see Scuba Steve, another 5-second penalty there. That's going to be retirement from him as well. That's going to promote Slayer as up into P6, and eventually Villeneuve is going to claim that 7th spot. It's going to be 7 finishers here tonight at the moment. Started with 14, so not the best weeks for our endurance racers, but these guys who have remained have shown that they are a step above the rest of them. Meeb is continuing to extend his gap out over Scarenzi now. He's got it up to 2.1 seconds, gaining about a tenth or two per lap. So exactly what he needs, kind of lap times he needs to be putting in if he wants to take home tonight's win. So good results, or good stuff from him. You might be starting to see a little bit of a tire decline there from Scarenzi as he's losing a bit of time ahead and behind. He's got 6-lap older tires, but I imagine that he's coming across a point now where he's starting to lose a bit of the life, so he's got to readjust his driving style a little bit to compensate for that. And I don't know if we'll see that come into play here at the end of the race, which tire is going to be better to be on those final few laps, but it is going to be interesting to see here as the field is pretty much all aside from Screnzi's at 3 seconds right now, but everyone else is about 5 or 10 seconds back. Lancey grabbing a bit too much curb there. Meep got a little bit overzealous on carrying a little more speed through there, but he did a nice job of controlling it through there. Grows a little bit wide here, so maybe starting to lose a little bit of that mental focus I was talking about earlier that you got to have at all times around this track. These corners, they look like they could just get into a rhythm with them, but with the changing grip levels almost every lap, you gotta adjust ever so slightly every time you come around a corner. Hit it just a little bit differently, hit your braking spot a little bit sooner maybe. Just Imola is a very challenging track for sure. So just 13 laps for these drivers here. Not expecting to see too much shaking up of the order from here. I'm going to take a look at the penalties one more time. Yeah, we've got 3 seconds for Jacko and Cynical, and at the moment Jacko is hitting 4 seconds ahead of Lancey. Lancey's going to be wanting to push that gap down if he can be, but I'm not so sure he's going to be able to do so. See him shifting a little bit early there to account for some wheel spin there. Doing a good job of keeping the car balanced and not getting overly aggressive on the throttle. Too early at the wrong moment could just pretty much spell disaster for you, as we've seen a lot of these guys who are remaining have spun. Some of the DNFers we've had as well spun into and just weren't able to really close down that gap ever again. It's got 9 laps now to go. We've got seven drivers still out there right now. I've seen pretty solid and consistent driving from all of these guys, and that's what you need in this endurance series. Is none of the showboating fancy moves are on good and nice, but in this race series like this, you gotta be able to just manage the car, manage your tires really well, and if you can do that, you're gonna definitely see yourself towards the top 5. It's the case of Lancey and Cynical. Lancey had a couple of spins, but was able to put in some pretty impressive lap times and just stayed consistent throughout and was able to get himself back up to P4 where he started. And Cynical starting further back in the field after a couple of DNFs helped him out, and just pretty solid pace. He's been able to close down that gap massively and bring himself up into the top 5. I see Meeb go a little bit wide there. Speaking of consistency, he doesn't want to be doing too much of that, although he is still gaining a fair amount on Screnzi there. Right on board with Screnzi here now in the Williams. Slayerized has got himself a 3-second time penalty now as well. I mentioned that time penalty that Jacko had, 3-second time penalty, and Lancey has just slowly been edging that gap away and has now got it to within 3 seconds. So if Lancey can keep this speed up, he's going to see himself sitting up on the podium. As I say that, he falls just a little bit back, but he does still have a bit of time to manage things. It's now sitting at about 2.7 seconds, so closing that gap down at just about the pace he needs to. Looks like if he can keep a pace up like this, he may even be able to pass him on track before the checkered flag falls. See Villeneuve get himself a 3-second time penalty for track limits as well. He's sitting down in last place, so penalties aren't really going to affect him too much. Scorenzi has had a new fastest lap of the 118.3, so good to see he's still got some good pace in those tires at this point. Yeah, it is unfortunate to see a DNF this time out, but you've been driving pretty consistently this season, especially. I've noticed a lot of improvement from last season, but you are always one of the more consistent drivers. You're going to see Slayer Eyes coming into the pits now. See what his malfunction is going to be at this moment in time. Just going for a set of softs, maybe thinking about nabbing that fastest lap bonus. Let's see, Lancey is now 1.6 seconds off of Jacko, so he's closed down that gap dramatically. See, Cynical is in the pits as well for a set of soft tires. So both of them being able to pit and not really have anything to lose from it. Lancey is now just about a second behind. Looking like he was trying to push to get that DRS this time around, but didn't quite happen. So he should be able to make the pass here on track if he's able to catch up to Jacko there in front and make the pass as smoothly as he's been gaining this time. So Jacko now, though, has closed himself up closely to Scorenzi up ahead. just 7/10 now, so he'll be in his DRS. Maybe hoping he could use that to kind of gain a bit on Lancey to keep him off his heels, as Lancey's now teetering within that second margin as well. So it looks like we do have a fight back on our hands for this final podium spot, maybe even P2, depending on what all could happen. Lancey may be able to make a move on both in some crazy circumstance, but see, Lancey's now just 4/10 behind Jacko there. Both of them going to be having that DRS, so not going to be able to gain off of that one necessarily. Slayer has now set the fastest lap, the 1:17.6, so it's going to be an extra couple points coming his way if he's able to hold on to that fastest lap at the end. Not sure if Cynical's going to be able to pull that away from him or not. So Elma Jacko has now just slipped back to outside of his second of Screnzy, which is going to be crucial for Lancey here on getting that DRS advantage. Got just 4 laps remaining, and Lancey looking like he's ready to overtake Jacko at any second now. So this battle is going to be a pretty fun one to unfold as it comes down to the end. We can pretty much guarantee that Lancey is going to be overtaking Jacko. Jacko having that 3-second time penalty to his name. But nice of these guys to give us a little bit of action to finish this one off after most of the field is kind of spaced out a good bit. Screnzy able to get back to a 1.3 second lead over Jacko though, so he doesn't have to worry about him catching up on his DRS. See Lancey getting up right alongside Jacko now, making the move around the inside. Able to make that one work there for him, so that's going to see Lancey up onto the podium place on track now. So you see both Williams running up on the podiums as I suspected we would see here today. Both pretty strong driver pairing there, very consistent drivers, and got a good bit of pace between them too. So going to be looking like it's going to be a good result for Williams this weekend. Meeb still hanging out in front, got himself up to 17 seconds advantage over Scarenzi there. So impressive dominant drive from him. Gonna see Slayer Eyes back into the pits again as well. Just a couple laps left, not sure what he's doing, going in for his pit. Looks like a new set of tires once again. Lancey looking like he might even be able to challenge here for P2. Let me see Slayer Eyes come back out on track and split these guys a little bit. I'm gonna see Jacko spinning around though, and that's not what you'd like to see. Not sure, I think he might have had a little bit of contact with Slayer Eyes there. Something happened and he got a little loose. Not really sure what that was all about, but that's unfortunate for him. Gonna see him fall back. He's not gonna lose any position because of it, but isn't gonna be right up close with Lancey in the end of this race. Scarenzi there taking the win. It's going to be almost inevitable at this point. Not sure that anyone's going to really be able to do much there against that one there. We got 17-second advantage on track. He's given us a dominant performance from pretty much start to finish. He took the lead early on in the sprint race and was holding out pretty consistently there. Jose Miguel was able to challenge for that though, and after Mead picked up a 3-second penalty, he was barely able to scrape that victory off of Mead. And then coming into this race, you see Mead just dominant display through the safety cars, just always itching to gain that advantage and just take off almost away from everybody else. And was able to do a pretty solid job of that this entire time. And a little bit going to be hard for anybody to deny that Mead is the fastest man out on track. Most confident driver, I'd say, too. Not really scared to make of any moves. He's coming around the final corner now. He's going to see that checkered flag here in a moment, though. Mead has been able to give us a dominant showing here today in our sprint feature race here after putting up an impressive fight in the sprint race as well. Going to see Scarenzi here, a championship leader at the moment, tied with the championship lead, that is. Coming across P2 for Williams. Followed shortly there by the Williams of Lancey there, picking up that final podium slot. Slayer Eyes able to get the fastest lap attempt finished on the 117.4 on his final lap. You're going to see Cynical coming home in P5 here in a moment. Elma Jacko is crossing the line now. Take home P4 after a late penalty and a spin kind of took his podium away from him. And you see Cynical with one of the more skilled and calm drives today. Didn't really have any fancy moves or anything like that, but still able to work his way up into the top 5. So great performance from him. You know, he doesn't really do these 100% races too often, but good to see him hanging out up there towards the top with the rest of them. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for this race, and we're going to have interviews coming up here in a second. Hello, Frajo. How's it going? But, yeah, great race here tonight. I saw 7 DNFers after a bit of an interesting lap 1 incident in the sprint race, causing an early safety car. There you can see podium positions there. There you can see Meeb in the Mercedes bringing home the win tonight. It's followed by Scarenzi in the Williams. Started third, worked his way up to second. Meeb started second, worked his way up. And then Lancey rounding out the podium spots in number 3 in the Williams as well. So great race here tonight, and don't anybody go anywhere. We're going to have some interviews coming up here shortly. So interested to see what this result's going to do for the standings here. As we saw Williams with another dominant weekend, that's going to promote their lead even farther up, and they were pretty close with Haas, but Haas not making a performance showing tonight. It's going to see them drop down a little bit as well.
Hey, Gabba.
Hey, how's it going?
How'd it go tonight?
Oh, it was pretty good. It was pretty close for the most part, and then towards the last half, everyone kind of spread themselves out and just kind of drove her home.
What was the podium?
Wow, I already forgot. No, it was Meeb. Meeb took the win, and then Scarenzi and Lancey were on the 2 and 3 spot.
Okay. Do you want to at them in the chat and see if they hop in?
Yeah. See if any of these guys are going to come.
All right, we'll give them a couple minutes here. Okay. You can add Jacko.
I don't think I'm friends with any of them on this account. Yeah, I don't have any of them.
There we go.
Are you getting invites out for everyone?
Yep, I got Jacko and Lancey.
Do you have Meeb, or I imagine one of them has him?
I did not have him added in there.
Heyo.
Evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Oh, what a race.
Jacko, Lancey, you guys here?
Evening.
Yep.
So how was it for you guys out there tonight?
Annoying.
I'll take a podium after kissing the wall twice.
That was pretty impressive.
It's a real lack of patience for people in a 100% race.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that as well. It seemed like everyone was a bit more pushy coming through some of these corners, wanting to shove their way through.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that really, it's probably the elephant in the room, but just the whole stuff pre-race, it's just a mess, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw any of that go down, GABA, but
I didn't see exactly what happened, but I just saw a huge pileup.
yeah,
Too huge a pile up.
I was in a pretty pissy mood because as Lancey said, I was moving everything out of my apartment tonight, so I was a little bit on edge as it was. But yeah, I mean, I think really our focus going forward is going to be on, obviously we want to get as many drivers as we can, but they have to come at least somewhat prepared and
Yeah.
not be joining 20 minutes before race start.
2 minutes before.
Yeah. So I apologize for that. I know it was frustrating probably for some of the guys out there tonight getting taken out at turn 1, in the sprint. But,
Yeah.
we live and we learn as a group. I talked to Tin Man and addressed his situation, and hoping he'll be able to get in at some point soon. But just how it was tonight, it was craziness. So
Yeah, a little bit, but sometimes that's how it be. But
yeah.
Lancey, I was wondering what was your race strategy coming into this, starting in P4?
Well, the plan was to get on the softs and then try to get into the lead, build a gap, and then either go to the mediums or the hards, depending on how far I could stretch the softs. But it went out of the window pretty quickly when I spun on lap 2.
A little bit. Were you in a party with your teammate for any?
No, I was in a party with Jacko and Shelly.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
It was just not real race strategy talk, but just chill.
Nice. But yeah, I don't think anybody else is coming in for interviews. But Jacko, you said you had some underbody damage. When did you pick up that?
That was it. I don't know what lap it was, but it was after the safety car. Picked it up at Tozer when I got run into the back of by Buck, I believe, who apologised already.
Yeah, I think I was riding on board when that happened. So yeah, I saw that.
It's kind of unfortunate because we were in that DRS train with the leaders, and even after that, I sort of kept up with Scornsy for a little bit, but it became too much when the tyres degraded more.
So what was the incident there with Buck? He was pretty upset about that. I don't think it was necessarily anybody else's fault, but
Yeah, I'm not really sure what caused it. I assume he just outbraked himself, but I mean, it could have been anything. I didn't really notice it was happening until, he'd already run into me.
Right.
Yeah, I think he just outbraked himself a little bit and lost complete control, but I'm just one of
Yeah, I mean,
those.
he was pushing on softs, which is kind of annoying for Lanzi and I, because we were just trying to stay in the train and not be risking anything. And his
Right.
strategy kind of dictated that he had to take some risks, even with penalties to his name. So.
Especially at a track like Imola where it's not particularly easy to overtake.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it didn't look easy at all, hardly.
I don't know. I mean, the straight's pretty long. I think it's a bit too easy to overtake on the straight because you have to basically not dump your battery in order to not be demolished the next lap. So I think
Nice.
if the chicane was there from back in the day, it would be a much better track.
I say we should just bring back all the old Formula One tracks, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to see Hockenheim. It's my personal favorite.
Which one? The Forest version, pre-2002, or the more recent one?
I like the just the one that was on F1 2019, I believe.
Oh yeah, it's the new
So just
one.
a general layout, I guess.
Yeah, they're both good. Both very good layouts.
I'm just waiting for Malaysia to come back.
Yeah, we need Malaysia. We need Manicor.
That
Yeah,
would
Malaysia
be
would be
nice.
cool.
Istanbul.
Istanbul's, it's alright. It was good.
It's okay.
Well, we got kind of a big break now for everybody to recuperate a bit. I think our
Practice.
next race is on the 6th, so it'll be good. Probably like 3 weeks here to
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back in Canada.
celebrate and yeah,
Canada.
it'll be a fun race. I think Canada's kind of similar to Imola. You got
Yeah.
one big straight. It's the main overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, it's gonna be another patience one for sure.
Gotta do the chicane 50 times. It's gonna be something.
Yeah, that chicane is super
It's
tricky.
gonna be like 70 times. I think it's 70 laps, no?
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah,
50% 35
it's
laps?
something
Yeah,
like that.
because it's like 30 some and a 50%.
Oh, shit.
Oh
God.
man.
I'm gonna check right now.
Yeah, Forward said he got comms on that one.
I need you back on the grid forward, man. Come on.
One of these times I'll get
What
out
did I
there.
get conned on?
You told me you were gonna do comms for the rest of the week or series.
Comms for what? For this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you told me that we were swapping places. I'm getting that Red Bull seat.
Red Bull? I'm not even in a Red Bull. I'm in a Ferrari.
Are you in Ferrari now? Oh, that's right, you are Ferrari now.
Yeah, I haven't even been at like 2 out of the 3 races because shit's been crazy around here. But
That's understandable, but that'd
I'm
be
hoping
why
I'll
I
kind of
didn't
be
know.
settled down by the 6th, and I can get back to it.
Hopefully, yeah, that'd be sweet. But if there's no other questions, I think I'm gonna shut down the stream real quick. But yeah. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. You're loyal 3 viewers still. But like I said, we'll be back on the 6th of January for Canada. So stay tuned then, and thanks for hanging out.